What is a quote from a comedian you'll never forget? Every time you clog a toilet, you exceeded someone's expectations. I'm not an adventurous person. I've only ever used one side of a cheese grater, James Acaster. I'm impulsive, but I'm also quite indecisive. I don't know what I want, but I know that I want it now. Dylan Moran. Cocaine is God's way of saying you make too much money. Robin Williams. Everybody thinks they're a comedian, especially in my line of work. Norm Macdonald. This came from his memoir, based on a true story, a must-read for Norm fans. My favorite thing about this line is that it was a sort of random throwaway, almost an afterthought, as he was expressing disdain for a doctor who told a joke and got a big laugh from everyone else in the room. And that doctor's joke? It was the moth story. I find a duck's opinion of me is very much influenced by whether or not I have bread. Mitch Hedberg. What is it like to have 4 kids? Imagine you are drowning, and then someone hands you a baby. Jim Gaffigan. I've started cooking with wine. That sounds so fancy, cooking with wine. What I do is I get drunk and I make rice. I tell my friends, come over, I'm cooking with wine. They come over, I'm drunk, and there's rice everywhere. Kevin Nealon. So, I sit at the hotel at night and I think of something that's funny. Or, if the pen is too far away, I have to convince myself that what I thought of wasn't funny. When you are on fire, and running down the street, people will get out of your way. Richard Pryor. I don't like country music, but I don't mean to denigrate those who do. And for the people who like country music, denigrate means, put down. Bob Newhart. I remember quite a few of his routines by heart, but this one comes to mind first. Take Idaho's license plates, they say, famous potatoes. Then there's New Hampshire, their license plates say, live free, or die. I don't know, I think that somewhere between, famous potatoes, and, live free or die, the truth lies. And I think it's closer to, famous potatoes. George Carlin. You can't have everything. Where would you put it? Stephen Wright. When Norm Macdonald was on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee and he brings up Cosby. Seinfeld seems uncomfortable. Norm, now do you think Cosby's legacy will be hurt? Jerry, yeah. Norm, you do, huh? I mean, there's a comedian, Patton Oswalt, he told me, I think the worst part of the Cosby thing was the hypocrisy. And I disagreed. Jerry, you disagreed with that? Norm, yeah, I thought it was the raping. When you are dead, you do not know you are dead. It's only painful and difficult for others. The same applies when you are stupid. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, which is just long enough to be President of the United States. Spike Milligan. My brother-in-law is German. He came to me and said, I can't get a good bagel at home. And I said, well, whose fault is that? Emo Phillips. It says here in this history book that, luckily, the good guys have won every single time. What are the odds? Stretching. How long will that take to fix it? Fix it? No, that's just something you do now. Till you and your shitty ankle both die. Of course science doesn't know everything. If it did, it would stop. Dara O'Brien. I like plugging the drain when I take a shower. Then pretend I'm in a sub that's been hit. Stephen Wright Tilda. I was at this casino minding my own business, and this guy came up to me and said, you're gonna have to move, you're blocking a fire exit. As though if there was a fire, I wasn't gonna run. If you're flammable and have legs, you are never blocking a fire exit. Make all guns legal. Make every bullet cost $5,000. That way when someone gets shot you know that motherfucker deserved it. Chris Rock. Once I saw this guy on a bridge about to jump. I said, don't do it. He said, nobody loves me. I said, God loves you. Do you believe in God? He said, yes. I said, are you a Christian or a Jew? He said, a Christian. I said, me, too. Protestant or Catholic? He said, Protestant. I said, me, too. What franchise? He said, Baptist. I said, me, too. Northern Baptist or Southern Baptist? He said, Northern Baptist. I said, me, too. Northern Conservative Baptist or Northern Liberal Baptist? He said, Northern Conservative Baptist. I said, me, too. Northern Conservative Baptist Great Lakes Region, or Northern Conservative Baptist Eastern Region. He said, Northern Conservative Baptist Great Lakes Region. I said, me, too. Northern Conservative Baptist Great Lakes Region Council of 1879, or Northern Conservative Baptist Great Lakes Region Council of 1912. He said, Northern Conservative Baptist Great Lakes Region Council of 1912. I said, die, heretic. And I pushed him over. The great Emo Phillips. If alcohol is a crutch, then Jack Daniels is the wheelchair. Robin Williams. Camping is such a terrible idea. Go out, sleep in the woods in a tent. I pay my taxes so that doesn't happen. People commit suicide and people go, I don't understand why. And I go, you don't. What do you live in a cotton candy house or something? What the fuck? Norm Macdonald. It's one thing to make people laugh, it's another thing to make people smile. Norm Macdonald. George Carlin, fuck you, I'm getting in the airplane. Dimitri Martin, I just bought an L-shaped couch. It's a lowercase L. I feed a child, cloth him, educate him in Africa for 75 cents a day. That's nothing compared to what it cost me to send him there. Build a man a fire, and he'll be warm for a day. Set a man on fire, and he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Sir Terry Pratchett. Me and my wife can't have kids, not the way we do it, Jimmy Carr. If you're gonna miss heaven, widen it by 2 inches. Sam Kinison. I spilled spot remover on my dog, now he's gone. Outside of a dog, a book is man's best friend. Inside of a dog, it's too dark to read. Groucho Marx. I'm telling my husband you said I was a cunt. He knows. Ron White. Today a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed through a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, there is no such thing as death, life is only a dream, and we are the imagination of ourselves. Here's Tom with the weather. Bill Hicks. Another dead hero. I know I'm getting older, my last birthday cake looked like a prairie fire. Rodney Dangerfield. The meal isn't over when I'm full. It's over when I hate myself. Edit. Yes, this is Louis C.K. Dogs are always in the push-up position. Mitch Hedberg. Every guy has a crazy girlfriend story. Why don't women have crazy men stories? Because if you have a crazy boyfriend, you gon' die. Donald Glover. Rice is great if you're really hungry and want to eat 2,000 of something. Mitch Hedberg. The wisest man I ever met told me something I'll never forget, and although I'll never forget it, I never quite memorized it either, so I am left with the memory of having learned something very wise that I can't quite remember. George Carlin. I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to, too. An escalator can never break, it can only become stairs. You should never see an escalator temporarily out of order sign, just escalator temporarily stairs. Sorry for the convenience. Mitch Hedberg. Think of how stupid the average person is, and realize half of them are stupider than that. George Carlin. You say, herbs, and we say herbs. Because there's a fucking H in it. Eddie Izzard. Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. George Carlin. One time I was. No, wait, that wasn't me. Stephen Wright. You look Italian. It was said by Richard Pryor, and I wish I could remember if it was part of one of his shows or an interview. He was talking about a trip he took to Africa. During a tour, he asked one of his guides what tribe he looks like he might belong to, and that was the guy's answer. It struck me as more insightful than funny. Richard Belzer talking about Reagan. We have a cowboy actor from Hollywood as president, and I'm supposed to sleep at night without drugs. When you got a career, there ain't enough time in the world. When you got a job, there's too much time. Chris Rock. The whole career versus job bit is good. Convicted hitman Jimmy Two Shoes McClarty confessed today that he was once hired to beat a cow to death in a rice field using only 2 small porcelain figures. Police admit this may be the first known case of a knick-knack paddy-whack. Colin Mockery. I saw an old man get hit by a train. In the pouring rain, he didn't hear me shout, "Look out for the train." Because I didn't say anything. Bo Burnham. It's a big club and you ain't in it. George Carlin. My father was brutally murdered last week, and it's only now that I can look back and laugh. Quote, Norm Macdonald. My opinion is that anybody offended by breastfeeding is staring too hard. Dave Allen. Do you have any spare change? How do I know? I haven't finished yet. This is not the roast of Pete Davidson's father. That was in 2001. Jimmy Carr. She had enough plastic surgery so that when she crossed her legs, her mouth snapped open. Joan Rivers. I use this line today. It's 40 years old. From a live show, so I don't recall it perfectly, but I'm finally touring Canada by bus, which is something I've always wanted to do. Crowd, in unison, why? See, every city has said that to me, and I was wondering to myself, why isn't everyone in this country excited for me? Then, on the road from Sudbury to Winnipeg, I realized why everyone kept asking, because, on the road from Sudbury to Winnipeg, they're isn't shit. Lewis Black. People spending money they don't have on things they don't need, money they don't have on things they don't need so they can max out their credit card and spend the rest of their lives paying 18% interest on something that cost $12.50. And they didn't like it when they got it home, anyway. Not too bright, folks, not too fucking bright. George Carlin. Does he still count as a comedian, or is it brutal realism? That's a challenging wank. I won't spit on you when we're having sex tonight. Sean Locke. Both. I quit drinking because I got tired of waking up on the hood of my car with my keys in my ass. That tiger didn't go crazy. That tiger went tiger! Exclamation mark. When you create yourself, you're going to have to either let this creation go and take a chance on being loved or hated for who you really are. Or you're gonna have to kill who you really are and fall into your grave grasping onto a character that you never were. Jim Carrey. Ignorance might be bliss for the ignorant, but for the rest of us it's a right fucking pain in the arse. Ricky Gervais. Soul Plane was the worst experience of my life involving a plane. Pete Davidson, at the roast of Justin Bieber. For anyone who doesn't know, Pete Davidson's father was killed on 9/11. The joke couldn't be delivered by anyone else, it was witty, and it still stands as my favorite roast joke ever. I don't feel anything. I don't want to do anything. Foucault. This link, Robin Williams. The things that matter in this country have been reduced in choice. There are 2 political parties, there are a handful insurance companies, there are 6 or 7 information centers. But if you want a bagel, there are 23 flavors. Because you have the illusion of choice. George Carlin. Baldrick. You wouldn't see a subtle plan if it painted itself purple and danced naked on a harpsichord singing, subtle plans are here again. Asterisk Blackadder. Do you have a flag? Eddie Izzard. Every triangle is a love triangle if you love triangles. Marriage is about finding that one special person. Who will suck the life out of you, slower than anyone else. Quote. Emo Phillips. Started making it. Had a breakdown. Bon appetite, James Acaster. Nationalism does nothing but teach you to hate people you never met, and to take pride in accomplishments you had no part in. Doug Stanhope. I am homeless, I am gay, I have AIDS, I'm new in town. G.I. Jane 2. Can't wait to see it. None of the Beatles had moustaches. But then one day, all of them had moustaches. Weird. Is it wrong to tell someone with HIV to stay positive? Lana Turner. I used to think that the worst thing in life was to end up alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people who make you feel alone. Robin Williams. Not funny at all but so true. Rip. There's plenty of reasons to hit a woman. You just don't do it. Bill Burr. Bill Bailey, explaining to children through song what it's like to be an owl asterisk I am deaf. A winged beast. I am born on the velvet wings of night, and I'm hungry for a feast. I am the nemesis of the vole. My heart is black as coal. You could kill me with a trowel. I am an owl. In this hand, a cup of water. I pass my hand over it while saying the magic word, abracadabra. Now it's wine. I don't need all of you to believe me, just 12. They call it the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it. George Carlin. You have guns because you like guns. That's why you go to gun conventions and read gun magazines. None of you give a shit about home security. None of you are looking at Padlock Monthly. None of you have a Facebook picture of you behind a secure door going, fucking yeah. Blueberries are fucking purple, Randy felt face. Your wife's a Bigfoot Gus. And your kids are big feet too. Eddie. My God, he's hung like a bear. Mr. Williams, that's the umbilical cord, let him dream, let him dream. Exclamation mark. They're 10 years of asking yourself, will I outgrow this, or is it a problem? Taylor Tomlinson, among many of her other quotes. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Tilda George Carlin, but there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this, there's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never gonna get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now, the real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interests. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around a kitchen table to figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. If it weren't for my horse, I wouldn't have spent that year in college. Lewis Black. White Album. IHOP. It's sand. You live in a desert. Move to where the water is. The world is like a ride in an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real because that's how powerful our minds are. The ride goes up and down, around and around, it has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Many people have been on the ride a long time, and they begin to wonder, hey, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us and say, hey, don't worry. Don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people. Shut him up. I've got a lot invested in this ride, shut him up. Look at my furrows of worry, look at my big bank account, and my family. This has to be real. It's just a ride. But we always kill the good guys who try and tell us that. You ever notice that? And let the demons run amok. But it doesn't matter, because it's just a ride. And we can change it any time we want. It's only a choice. No effort, no work, no job, no savings of money. Just a simple choice, right now, between fear and love. The eyes of fear want you to put bigger locks on your doors, buy guns, close yourself off. The eyes of love instead see all of us as one. Here's what we can do to change the world, right now, to a better ride. Take all that money we spend on weapons and defenses each year and instead spend it feeding and clothing and educating the poor of the world, which it would pay for many times over, not one human being excluded, and we could explore space, together, both inner and outer, forever, in peace. About working out, no pain, no pain. But I was over on the bench. John Mulaney. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. And I've heard them all on TV by now. I bet half the quotes will be from George Carlin. My girlfriend is always asking me, Anthony, why don't you choke me in the bedroom? I don't know, honey, call me old-fashioned, what's wrong with at the dinner table? Anthony Jeselnik. Dylan Moran, on the song Funk Soul Brother. I'm not saying it's a bad song, you know, or anything like that. All I'm saying is that if you get, I don't know, a broom, say, and dip it in some brake fluid, put the other end up my ass, stick me on a trampoline in a moving lift, and I would write a better song on the walls. That's all I'm saying. Only black people can be cops. If you have a problem with that, you're racist. White people can be firefighters, we're more outdoorsy, tosh. Is Wayne Brady gonna have to choke a bitch? Rice is great if you're really hungry and want to eat 2,000 of something. Also, I'm against picketing, but I don't know how to show it. Mitch. When I started Raynham Industries, I had just two things in my possession. A dream, and £6 million. An escalator can never break. It can only become stairs. You should never see an escalator temporarily out of order sign, just escalator temporarily stairs. Sorry for the convenience, you can still get exactly where the fuck you're wanted to go. Mitch Hedberg. I'm liberal about some things and conservative about others, but how can I have my mind made up before I've even heard the question? Republicans want live babies so they can raise them to be dead soldiers. George Carlin. Not a comedian, but Blake Griffin says, Caitlyn Jenner completed her gender reassignment in 2013, finally confirming that no one in that family wants a white dick. So then, he comes in there and I said, look bitch, I'm Rick James. Charlie Murphy, that's my childhood right there. WTF were my parents doing? Just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. At least my religion was made up before TV. Kathleen Madigan. Look at him. He loves it. Dave Chappelle pretending to be a white man watching a black man eat chicken. There are 3,000 gods out there. You don't believe in 2,999 of them. I just don't believe in one more. Ricky Gervais, on Atheism edit link. This link. Why do men get paid more? Because for some fucked up reason if I'm on a ship I have to stay behind while you get to leave with the kids. Quote. Bill Burr. If God exists, why did he invent atheist comedians? Stuart Lee. Teach your children to question everything. George Carlin. The only time you look in your neighbor's bowl is to make sure that they have enough. You don't look in your neighbor's bowl to see if you have as much as them. Louis C.K. Show me the buffet. I say, nay nay. Cat Williams, you fucked up my self-esteem. Bitch, it's called self-esteem. It's esteem of your motherfucking self, bitch. Humanity is nothing more than a virus with shoes. Tilda Bill Hicks. We are the evil empire. Bill Hicks. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing and liking. Any feedback in the comments would be greatly appreciated so that we can make these videos even better. Thanks for watching Upvote Stories.